Starfield releasing a big update. I can't wait to see what kind of basic should have been there when the game launched features they gonna be.
And now that Starfield has been out for a month now from the early access launch, questions about the future of this game are starting to pop up. Everything from the first major title update to things like DLSS and FOV slider, and of course the eat button.
Oh my god. They promised FOV slider and eat button how long ago? 2 weeks ago or something like that? And you're telling me it's still not here. You're telling me it's still not here. The things that exist in other games and that have been complaints that they should be added in every single game that you have made, and it's not there yet. Amazing.
We also have some comments from Todd Howard regarding the post-launch support, as it sounds like this game is going to be heavily supported for years to come. Now, it's no doubt that Starfield has been a big success for Bethesda and Team Xbox, from the 10 million plus players logged to solid reviews from players and critics alike, but the question remains...
Solid reviews from players and critics alike? What are you talking about? The critics gave it a 10 out of 10 because everyone just wants to get the new Elder Scrolls. And there's barely a handful of Bethesda fanboy channels that keep posting good things about Starfield. Everyone else is just absolutely just laughing at this disaster.
Where do we go from here? Well, today we're going to be discussing some news about Starfield's future, from the post-launch support by Bethesda to how
we hopefully go a step forward with Starfield, not 3 steps backward.
Starfield will keep getting better as time goes on, and so much more. I'm also going to dive into some of the latest news and updates for Starfield, so check the video chapters to optimize your viewing experience. And without further delay, let's get into it. So first things first, let's go over some new comments that Todd Howard made on a recent podcast that he was involved in with the Insomniac Games CEO, Ted Price. So in the interview, Todd Howard was asked about how the team prepared for longevity whenever it came to Starfield, and how that influenced the plan and overall...
They didn't! They didn't! They said the modders are gonna fix it.
Execution of this game. So in the podcast, Todd Howard said this, and I quote, "One of the things that we've learned from our previous games, from Skyrim, from Fallout, is that people want to play them for a very long time. So Starfield, I would say, was the most intentional going into it. That this is a game that people are going to play for a long time. Even a game like Skyrim, which if you look at it at launch was a really, really big game. If you look at it today with add-ons and mods, it's a
True. Skyrim, Bethesda was very well known for Oblivion and whatnot previously, Morrowind obviously, but Skyrim was the thing that really put them on the map. Skyrim was really big thing that everyone wanted, because Skyrim, don't get me wrong, Skyrim wasn't the greatest game on release, but I played 50 hours of that game. Didn't finish the main story, as you shouldn't probably, obviously, right? It was like an ocean with the depth of the puddle, but it was at least playable. It was interesting. Starfield is none of that. But Skyrim did put them on the map, because Skyrim was a huge success for them. Even though a lot of people were like, okay, this is fun, played for like 10 hours and then quit and never even noticed that they did quit the game suddenly. But, you know, it was a successful game by all accounts. But Starfield is not.
Much bigger game. It's still a game played 12 years later in large numbers for us. He then said, I think if you look at your audience, they get used to a game and they usually want to plus one it. They want to add XYZ, and the developers, we usually do as well. He continued by saying, but it's also one where, okay, what does Starfield look like in 3 months? What does it look like in 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and 5 years? We've learned that that's going to happen, so let's be ready for it and make the most of it and embrace it. That's both what we do here and with our modding community. So yeah, from the comments that Todd Howard said, it sounds like
every other game by a big developer company, by the way, is talking about, oh, we're gonna add this later on, this is gonna be a new patch, we're gonna change this and that. Bethesda's like, well, we're not gonna do anything. There's mod tools, you see. Let's ignore that only 1% of the population use mods, at best. But, you know, let's just ignore that. Let's just ignore that. Let's say that this game is going to be good for the 1%. But admittedly, it's a very vocal 1%. It is what it is.
That they're planning for at least 5 years of support for Starfield post-launch. Now, I'm not sure if this means that there's going to be a 5+ year content pipeline, and we really don't know how they plan on supporting Starfield for 5.
No, there's not going to be. There's barely going to be any updates. Todd's just lying again. The idea that someone knows who Todd Howard is, the greatest Snake Soul salesman alive, and they're like, oh, Todd said it's going to be supported for 5 years, and they actually buy that shit, that's a you problem. Honestly, if Todd Howard gets you to believe in something, go buy NFTs, or go spend your money on NFTs, a bunch of JPEGs, because that's your level.
Plus years, especially with the development of Elder Scrolls 6 underway. It's a really interesting statement. Like, if they actually plan for 5+ years of content drops for Starfield, that would be absolutely wild. Like, right now we have Shattered Space already confirmed, and we got that name confirmed before the game even launched. Do they plan on going the Elder Scrolls Online route where they drop at least one big expansion every year? Like I said, it's hard saying. Who knows what they plan on doing.
Now, my estimation was that they're gonna do this, but only if they add the battle pass and the pay to win things, because they're gonna. But have no mistake, Bethesda is going to add something that you can, some kind of microtransactions to Starfield. There is no way. They're just being careful because the last time they tried to monetize mods, everyone was really, really upset. Now they're gonna do it slowly, exactly like they did with Fallout 76. First, there is no shop, then a shop slowly appears, but don't worry, it's only skins, we won't ever sell power. Well, whoopsie doopsie, look at this. Now we're selling one power item in the shop that actually is buying power, but don't worry, that's the only one. Oh, whoopsie doopsie, here's a second and third one. Bethesda understands they need to take it slow. And they're taking it slow with Starfield. I think this will be the most egregiously monetized game that Bethesda has, probably in a year. Probably in a year you will be able to just, buy the end victory screen for this game when you start playing.
But Starfield has been a success, so I'm sure that their plan will not be changed. But I'll be talking more about Bethesda's post-launch support for Starfield in just a bit. But first, I'd like to turn to another comment from Todd Howard regarding players being encumbered. Now, in the same podcast, Todd actually spoke about some criticism from new players about the overall weight management system. A lot of players gave feedback about the weight management of constantly being encumbered and why their O2 meter was never being filled. Like, I've even had some people talk to me and they're just like, dude, how can I increase my oxygen level? I don't understand this. It doesn't make sense. I'm constantly getting killed because of the CO2 meter. So during the podcast, Todd Howard said this, and I quote, "It seems like we hit this every time people play one of our new games, picking up all of the stuff and they immediately get encumbered. No, you don't need all the trays and the pencils, but we like that you can pick them up." So yeah, basically Todd Howard.
I'm just gonna say it once. If there's no point in them, why even allow them to be picked up? There's no point in picking them up. Then why even allow them to be picked up? It's just a waste of oxygen.
Howard is telling all the new people that played this game, don't be a loot goblin, you don't need everything. I totally understand the criticism. If you're one of the people that just picks up everything with no intentions of selling or storing the items, you should really only focus on getting the essentials. But luckily, if you're over encumbered in Starfield, you're still able to move at normal speeds, but your O2 level will be heavily affected. Now with Skyrim, you will literally move slower than a snail unless you start dropping your items. At its core, Starfield is an expansive game that builds upon most
the power attack movement, because yep,
of the gameplay systems and themes of other Bethesda juggernauts. While the setting has a different vibe from the post-apocalyptic and fantasy epic of Fallout and Elder Scrolls, the question still remains for all of us, will Starfield stand the test of time? A big aspect that has contributed to the appeal of Fallout and
Starfield is definitely not gonna stand the test of time. It's just sadly way too poorly made. Okay, it's just now. There's a chance that someone's gonna add a mod to Fallout 4 that makes it into Starfield, and then that's gonna be the new Starfield that everyone wants to play.
Skyrim is the gameplay loop, with the interesting melee combat and magic of the Elder Scrolls to the slower paced first-person shooting of
interesting melee gameplay. Are you talking about the non-existent melee gameplay? Or did I hear that wrong? Because every melee weapon attacks exactly at the same speed. They have the exact same animations, and there's like 3 melee weapons in the whole fucking game. What melee combat? I ask again. What melee combat?
Fallout, which is beautifully complemented by VATS, is Starfield's high-action FPS-like gameplay enough to keep people hooked long-term?
High-action FPS gameplay? Bruh, are we really reaching that far? The AI doesn't even know that you're there most of the time. What high octane FPS gameplay? You shooting someone who doesn't even know you're there or not reacting to it, or being stuck in an animation and then slumping over?
The gameplay is smooth, probably the best that it's been in the entire series, but the AI aren't that smart, which makes the gameplay feel super samey after
the gameplay is the worst that we have ever had.
one mission. However, the interesting level design complements the gameplay pretty well. Also, the
level design's not interesting. The level design may be interesting if this is your if you come from college. Now again, I have said this previously. I understand if the only game you have ever played in your life is, for example, like Call of Duty, and then you suddenly play Starfield. Yeah, I kind of do understand that those people unironically can call it a good game, because they have never experienced anything like this. But for other people who have experienced open world games with exploration, or these type of games, or even, you know, just Fallout in general as a game, except 76, which is still trash. Starfield is just dumb. Starfield is boring, dumb, uninteresting, uninspired, and all around a super bad experience 3 steps back from any other Fallout game that has ever existed.
team's choice to have New Game Plus be a part of the core gameplay loop is a telling
Oh, and by the way, the dragon shouts of Starfield are boring.
Sign of Bethesda's commitment to ensuring players have stuff to do after their first playthrough. NG Plus allows players to restart after they beat the main story with a bit of additional content.
NG Plus is stupid. It makes absolutely no fucking sense at all. The reality is that No Game Plus is useless in a game like Starfield, or in any Bethesda game, if we're being completely honest. No Game Plus is almost essentially the same as saying, hey, none of your decisions mattered, and that's pretty much it.
Some new dialogue and challenges, but does the NG Plus content provide enough depth to warrant multiple playthroughs?
It doesn't even provide any depth or anything. It actually takes away, because you get to keep your character, but you don't get to keep any weapons or anything, which means the appeal why I have played Fallout New Vegas so many times is the fact that I can create a new character and I can specialize him on stealth, on guns, on melee weapons, on explosives, on speech, or whatever. In Starfield New Game Plus, it's kind of redundant to do so, because you're just making your playthrough of the next character faster. You're probably not even actually playing the character in a new way. You're just continuing playing your character, which is good, I guess, if you want to play the same character and not try to go for a new fantasy build. But at the same time, why just not allow to play for a person after they have finished the main quest in that case? You know? Kind of stupid.
Starfield is a new IP. It was created by a team that has previously delivered us masterpieces. Using their experiences from Elder Scrolls and Fallout, they were able to craft together an experience that infused elements that we loved about—
Wait, what Fallout? 76? Elder Scrolls Online, the absolute failure of an MMO.
the older games. However, the part that is lacking with Starfield is a sense of discovery on planets. One of the appeals of Skyrim is kind of just walking around and finding a random dungeon or seeing a massive point of interest in the background get larger as you approached. And Starfield just plain and simply does not have enough of that vibe. I'm not saying that you don't—
No, it has absolutely nothing of that, to be honest. Okay? It has nothing of that. There's nothing on a planet. This is why people... This is why Starfield has added 15 different ways to fast travel, okay? Because this game has none of that. By the way, this HUD, when you press F, also has a fast travel option. If he looks in these directions, his A part, the scan part, will turn into fast travel. This game has 15 ways of fast traveling because you should... If you don't fast travel, you quickly understand how this game has nothing in it.
Don't randomly come across new locations in Starfield, but it's just not the same vibe as a game like Skyrim is, which, as unfortunate as that is, it's what you get with such a heavy focus on the procedural elements of the game. And it's an aspect that I really hope that Starfield improves on in the future. Take a game like No Man's Sky or even Minecraft. As that game progressed and developed, they improved on the procedural elements that made the experience just a lot better. You're able to get that experience in No Man's Sky and in Minecraft, so I hope Bethesda continues to improve on their procedural systems and get it to the point where we're actually going on a planet and seeing more stuff. Now, it's totally...
Dude, Bethesda's not going to improve the game. Look at this. It's taking them currently more than 2 weeks to add a field of view slider. Okay? And an eat button. Well, if Bethesda even tries to improve the game in any meaningful way, that's probably going to take them like 2 years. Fixing the bad inventory systems is probably like a 3-month task for Bethesda. So yeah, the game's not gonna get improved at all. Ever.
Understandable that there's going to be a lot of planets with some barren wastelands, but even on planets that are habitable or just temperate environments, there should be more points of interest on those planets with a better sense of discovery. Now, as I mentioned before, Bethesda has made it clear that they plan to extend the post-launch support for years to come. With that being said, the studio's history and dedication to past titles, what kind of post-launch support should we be expecting? Well, for
mods. The post-launch support is literally mods. I'm not even joking.
Starters, all of the updates we've been getting, the patches, the hot fixes, the major title updates that improve the overall gameplay experiences, we can anticipate that for sure. We can also expect to see some free content updates come in as well. As Todd Howard has said time and time again, they have a ton of plans for the future. So not only should we expect the overall gameplay experience to be adjusted, but also new elements.
I love how they say free content. Yeah, minor patches are free content in every game. That's a default. No one even calls them free updates because everyone knows they're free. But no, for Bethesda, for it to be a selling point, you need to call them free. Oh, Bethesda's gonna fix this game-breaking bug. It's a free update. You should be happy. Yeah, sure.
And so will keep the game fresh and engaging for years to come. But by far the aspect that we are already seeing take place that will really take this game to the next level is the mods, which, like we have seen with past Bethesda games and Starfield currently, the mods will allow us to completely customize the experience of Starfield and change the game into something entirely new. With Bethesda announcing that mod support will be coming in 2024, specifically the creation kit 2 for Starfield, the possibilities are unreal. We've already seen an insane amount of mods already added to Starfield, and it's only going to get better. So not only are we going to get support from Bethesda themselves, the community will be actively evolving this game for a long time.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, still looks like shit, but okay.
Thing from creating unique assets, environments, entire star system.
But then again, what do you honestly want from a game that's made on an engine that's 20 years old? Elder Scrolls 6 is also going to be on this engine. I hope you're happy about that one.
Complete overhaul mods, like the entire game endure all the Shards of Order and different storylines, to the inevitable Skyrim being built in Starfield. Once the mod tool is officially released for this game, we are about to see a radical transformation in gameplay that will offer us endless ways to experience Starfield. So even if Bethesda doesn't support Starfield for 5+ years, this game will be in very good hands because of the mod developers. And speaking of mods, another way that we will see future content and support is via Bethesda.
By the way, do you think what if Bethesda doesn't even release the field of view slider and eat button? Because, you know, they figure out, you know what? Why should we? Do you think that's a possibility that they just don't even do that? That would be hilarious.
Bethesda's Creation Club and paid mods. Creation Club is a pretty hot topic among many players, mainly due to the approach to paid mods. If you guys remember when Creation Club first dropped, it was a disaster of a timeline. However, though, none of us can really deny that Creation Club has brought some high quality mods to previous titles with that support. So with the integration of the club into Starfield sometime next year, we don't know if the system is going to be called Creation Club. It could just be called Creations. But once that does happen, we can expect professionally developed
At least he knows it's happening.
Mods. Everything from new gear, new insane locations, and more. Obviously, if you're against paid mods, you probably are never going to try to use the Creation Club, but for those of us that choose to support mod developers, that option will be available in the future, I'm sure. The more developers that can utilize modding Starfield and other games as a source of income just means the better off the mod community and the entire game community is. Obviously, there will be free mods outside of the Creation Club on sites like Nexus Mods, so if you choose not to support Creation Club, head over to Nexus and start downloading. No, that's not an ad. Moving on to DLCs. These are are the lifeblood that can significantly expand on the game's universe that will keep this game alive a lot longer than typical single-player games. Bethesda's track record with games like Fallout 4, which received multiple DLCs, I think like 5 to be exact, but I guess if you count the high-resolution texture pack, that would make it 6. The first announced DLC, Shattered Space, is already generating a ton of hype, and while these specifics are totally unknown, if Bethesda's previous
It's gonna be your most generic shit ever, I can promise you. You're gonna be the chosen one saving the universe again.
DLCs are anything to go by, we can expect new storylines, new locations, and gameplay mechanics, which is
New storylines written by 10-year-olds again. Yay! Uninspired dialogue all the way through. Yay!
It's all really exciting. Moving right along, let's talk about the next big update to Starfield. As you guys know, Bethesda has been cooking. The game has been out for a month now, at least since the early access launch. And with that, we can expect a big update to be happening soon, as Bethesda has already confirmed some of the features like DLSS, an FOV slider, the E button, and so much more. So the question that I've
Such big features, you know? By the way, Field of View slider is something that the last 5 Bethesda games didn't have, and everyone was always complaining that you should add them. I'm pretty sure at this point, by the way, I'm pretty sure this was already a conspiracy when, well, I don't think it's a conspiracy, I think it's real, obviously, as most conspiracies. That the Bethesda doesn't intentionally add the Field of View slider so they can patch it in like 2 weeks later so everyone can praise them and say, oh, you see that? Bethesda cares, Bethesda cares. That the Field of View slider is already actually in the game. It's just not visible for you. And it's just, you know, essentially disabled, but it's there. And they're just waiting like a week or two so they can get the praise for being the developers that care about their community. Because they have unironically done this 5 times or something. 5 times they have not added the Field of View slider and everyone has been pissed.
Quite a bit is, when is that update coming out? Well, first and foremost, your guess is as good as mine. I would say we're about 2 weeks out from a big title update to Starfield. We've had 2 smaller patches, and of course the big day 1 patch that happened before the game launched. So I think we're getting really close until a big title update. Now, whether that adds DLSS or...
Yeah, they call it big patches, but I played it that time. And guess what? Nothing fucking changed. Nothing changed. Those updates didn't change anything.
all of the features that they've talked about, I don't know, but we know something is happening. It's coming soon, and we'll just have to wait to find out. But I will keep you guys updated once Starfield releases its first major title update. But yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap it up with this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. Do you think Starfield will still be played 10 years from now? Will it have the same effect?
Probably it will, unironically. Bethesda fanboys are insane. Yeah, probably they will. Ves Nemo, I mean. I don't know. It's not the first time we watch his videos. So, Was Nemo. I think Was Nemo is actually a good name. Don't, it's mine. Don't touch it. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sits, and thanks for watching. Subscribe and already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.